5 o'clock, having arrived, I'll officially call the meeting to order. Has the meeting been properly posted and the roll been taken? Thank you. Item number 2, our approval of the minutes. 2.1, our approval of the minutes from the March 3rd, 2025 meeting. If there's no additions or corrections, I go ahead and entertain a motion to approve those minutes.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Yes, Kevin.
I would note on item 6.2, I'm not asking for the minutes to be adjusted, but we also asked why parcel 3 wasn't being presented for its subdivision at that time. And we'll get into that later.
Thank you, Ken. Any other discussion? Seeing and hearing none, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Item 3 are communications. I don't believe we have any communications at this time. Item number 4 is a public hearing to review a possible recommendation regarding Mark Schmuck. 4.1 is a public hearing on a conditional use petition of 1265 Racine Street to allow for a proposed commercial indoor entertainment land use in the business local BL zoning district, which will also have a drive-through window and is located in wellhead protection overlay zoning. Again, applicant Mark Schmuck. And with that, I would open up the public hearing and ask staff to get started.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yep, so this is for the bar located at 1265 Racine Street. It's going to have a new owner, Mark Schmuck, and basically he's utilizing this space the same way that the other bar owner had utilized it. And we're here today because of the indoor commercial entertainment of it being a bar, and then specifically for in-vehicle sales service for the drive-through. Mark Schmuck is in the audience if you do have any questions for him tonight.
I have a question before.
For staff, sure.
Yeah. The application T is for an in-vehicle sales and service conditional use.
Correct.
We don't have an application in front of us for indoor entertainment use.
Yeah, that might have been a mishap on my part with that.
Well,
Basically, they're here for the, well, basically a restaurant would require the indoor commercial entertainment, and then the in-vehicle sales or services for the drive-through.
so we don't have an appropriate application in front of us. How can we act?
I'd have to look at that application again, but
It's right in front of us.
right, I don't have it.
It's signed by, it's a petition for zoning amendment, Wally Wheels, business local, Lisa Churchill owner, Mark Schmuck operator. And the only request is for in-vehicle sales and service, conditional use.
Okay, yeah, maybe on that application, and I apologize if that was on the for the review for here, that's what we had written on the report, but on that
No,
application.
I'm looking at the physical application, petition for zoning amendment. It's the one that's signed by the applicant.
Sure. I see what you're saying.
Well, so there hasn't been a request for the conditional use required for the facility.
Okay,
So we can't act.
yeah, I'm not exactly sure how you want to handle that.
I don't, to me, it's not complete, and then it should have been. When it was noticed for a public hearing, not only for in-service, but also entertainment, if that's.
Well, in the way that it was written in the paper, it does say that indoor commercial entertainment. I'm guessing it probably just
Does
on
it?
that.
Can you show us the notice?
Cause I believe that it was written up that way.
My second staff question, while Andy runs and gets that. Mayor,
Yes.
as I understand it, the facility is operating without its conditional use. Is that, well, I drove by it today, it's operating, right, Mark?
The drive-through isn't, but the
Well,
rest
no,
of it.
the rest of it's right.
Right.
So. Yeah. Your indoor entertainment, good. Save the day, Andy.
Yeah.
Why is it operating without its conditional use?
Well, the in-vehicle sales service probably.
Why is it,
Yeah.
so, there are two parts,
Sure,
indoor entertainment
right,
and in-vehicle sales and service. Why is it up that are posted? Congratulations, we've got past the first hurdle,
sure,
okay? The application was corrected by the clerk when she posted it. Why is the facility operating without its conditional use?
right, it probably should not, it shouldn't be.
Who gave approval for the facility to
So,
operate without its conditional use?
Yeah, I have walked through there
Who
and,
gave approval?
yeah, it would have been me, so I apologize for that.
That's not an apology. That's a failure of a public official to correctly discharge their office. Thank you.
Thanks, Kevin. Mark, did you wanna approach, maybe highlight or share any other
Yeah,
thoughts during the public hearing portion of this?
I'm a little unaware of how your system for this works, but I'm trying to understand how is it that you get a license to operate the gaming and a license to operate the liquor, but you're not allowed to open?
There's other conditions that you have to meet that we are just now gonna hear about and deliberate on. So that would be my answer until those are for sure cleared up, because you don't know if you're gonna get a conditional variance on some of these things. I mean, you might not. I
Sure.
mean,
Well,
I didn't know you were operating. That's disappointing to know that. That's another issue, so,
And to be clear, we recommend conditional use. You don't have a conditional use until
Until it goes to the city council.
and the clerk and the mayor both sign.
I guess I thought it was just for the drive-through, so we kept that portion closed.
Well, that's what you applied for. But it's incorrect. It's not been done correct.
right, and the council won't meet until next week, so I mean, I don't feel like you should be in operation at all until we know what happens tonight, and then depending on the recommendation, and then the council will hear it, and then they'll either say yay or nay to it, and then you would be in compliance.
What would you like me to do?
Well, I think we can continue with the public hearing now that, the clerk has verified that it was at least noticed legally and correctly. If no one has any objections, I think we can continue with the public hearing. Did you have anything more that you wanted to add beyond what we have now.
No, sir.
Is there any? Any questions for the petitioner by the commission? Yes, Kevin, sorry.
I have a question for staff and the petitioner, okay? The conditional use travels with the owner, right?
So when we put a limited conditional use, it travels with the owner.
Right.
So
So who's the owner? Lisa Churchill, right?
correct.
Is that transaction closed? Is she the owner?
I believe so, yes.
Thank you, Ed. Then Mark, or is it Mark?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, is the operator, right?
That's
Okay, so I have some operator questions.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we're recording and let's do a little clear.
The first question I have is, what are the hours of the drive-through that you're proposing?
6 AM to midnight.
Okay? Do we have any limits on what is provided when someone has a liquor license for when drive-through hours can operate?
We don't have a specific ordinance about
Okay,
that, no, it just
thank
follows
you.
the state statute.
Right, and what's the state statute say?
I don't actually know at the top of my head.
Okay. It's outlined on your website that you're operating it. One of the elements of the facility is additional entertainment, one of them, cigar bar. Are you selling cigars in that facility? And if so, are you operating a smoking salon inside there or not?
Oh, absolutely not. We don't have any of that set up yet. It was,
Yet,
I'm sorry.
yet, is it your intention?
I would like to sell whatever we can. I'm focused on revenue, so if I can, and we have the affiliation with the cigar bar, but I would set up an area outside to do so.
But your website says that,
The website was a pretty quick and cheap thing that I haven't exactly gone through 100% to reword everything. That you buy these things online, it's set up, and then you go through and kind of adjust it to make it your own.
okay, one of the things that you just mentioned is also on your website is that you operate gambling machines. Is that correct?
I'm a little bit confused about the wording there, but we would like to, yeah, well, I didn't write it, the
Well, you
website.
just mentioned too, that you wanted approval to operate your gaming machines.
As far as I know, we have it. We have a license.
You have
For
an operation, I imagine you have a license to operate a game of chance.
I don't understand the wording because I'm kind of new to the industry, so the exact wordage that you're using is confusing to me.
So do people who play the games in your facility get paid if they win?
Yes,
Okay. That's a gambling machine. Right?
did I call it something I wasn't, it's not supposed to be?
No.
If it's a word, it's
You're honest. You're being honest.
I'm just, I've been into every bar in town, and I don't think I'm doing anything differently. This is where I'm getting the ideas from. And I'm just,
Well, I understand, but you're also marketing that one of the elements of the entertainment that you're asking for from your entertainment license is
I could fix
gambling
that.
machines.
I can fix that really quickly. Like I said, I'm new to the industry, so that the exact words to be used are, I'm learning. I can change that.
I have a question for our staff. Do either conditional uses that are presently posted for this facility allow smoking on premise or cash payout gaming machines to customers?
I wouldn't have anybody smoking on premise. I mean, outside in a designated area.
I don't believe that our zoning code, covers that. I think it's more through state statute.
So neither of them affirmatively give that right.
Correct.
Right, thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Mark. Any other questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, I have one more. Okay, how many seats do you operate?
17 right now?
Okay. And does that include the outside seats in front of the facility?
There was 2 picnic benches that I dropped off yesterday.
Right, I saw, so that's what, you call it another 8?
Okay.
Okay, 25. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. Any other question?
I have a question
For
for
staff.
staff.
Okay.
Entertainment facility with 25 seats requires how many spaces, Steve?
Oh, for parking, is that what you're referring to? I believe that, for parking, it's, 1 space for every, 3 seats.
So 8. How many are designated now?
I don't have that in front of me right this second.
So there's a weird provision.
It
in
says,
the whole-
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, Bruce, you were gonna say something.
Well, in the recommended actions of conditions of approval, there's a reservation of land to accommodate up to 8 more parking stalls on the north side of the north side aisle, which would include, that'd be plus the 9 stalls that you currently have, I assume.
But they were never, the 9 stalls and the 8 stalls were never required to be built into 2019. Thank you, I'm sorry.
Thanks, Kevin. My other question would be for staff as well, there was under the previous ownership, there was conditions. And we're satisfied that while maybe the conditions under the previous owner, I think there was some outstanding that there'll be, if there's any of those same concerns, that they'll be addressed under this new owner and operator? Or is there, I mean, I just want to make sure that any issues that we had before, maybe if I'm not accurate, that there was still some conditions that under the previous owner and operator and business. It seemed to me when I read some of that in the past, that there was maybe some conditions that we didn't address. Even though they were supposed to be, they never got enforced, but I just want to be clear.
Right, I don't believe that there were any open-ended things from the last, person that owned this bar. So I believe that everything was addressed, and I know, when they came for the outdoor, area, the outdoor section, that, I believe that we might have given them a certain amount of time for, if there was gonna be issues, and we never had any issues, with that.
So gee, there's no reference to the approval for the outdoor section. And so we're dealing with the new conditional use. None of that carries over. He just placed picnic tables in a place that there were a previous outdoor agreement with the old owner, and we don't have an agreement with him.
Yeah, and if I remember right, I'm trying to remember if that one was actually a limited conditional use, which, do you remember if that was, Mark? Yeah, I don't remember if that was technically a limited one. I think it might have just been a regular one, so it would have carried over.
What?
That's kind of, that's how our zone, basically, if something's not limited to it, then it doesn't stay with the owner, it stays with the property.
So, the downtown seating areas, how are they addressed?
I'm sorry, I don't understand, the downtown.
We've given sidewalk outdoor seating approvals to downtown. How are they addressed as licenses, right? Or,
Permit.
The sidewalk cafe, yeah, there's a sidewalk cafe permit.
and they only last the X period of time?
Yeah, they only last for 1 year. We have them renew it every single
So
time.
we don't know in this case that it wasn't underneath that program.
No, because it's not on public property, it's in their own private.
So we have no idea how we permitted that outdoor seating.
I know the liquor license was expanded to include that area, but I don't know on the other end.
Right,
So so you don't know if they had a regular conditional use or limited to the prior owner?
yeah, I should have looked into that a little bit better. I don't want to say for certain, I don't know.
Well, it makes a difference whether or not you can operate this next week or not.
I don't,
No. The part that he's talking about is just the outdoor seating. You
right,
could provide outdoor seating over the course of the next week, but indoor entertainment and the drive-through you can't operate.
That's true.
Right.
I was thinking about the operation of the place itself.
Right.
Can operate as a bar. If it had a conditional use before and it carries on with the building.
No, it's a limited.
No, that's what I just asked, and he doesn't know if it's
Right.
limited or regular.
Yeah, and I think, the actual use of the property, because it says in the paper for 2019, it says. Proposed conditional use, doesn't say proposed limited conditional use. And we passed that, because I remember that,
right.
so is that still in effect?
No, but we've written a new.
That's not what this
This is asking, or conditions, make it.
Yeah, it's not how it says.
No, we have to approve the indoor entertainment land use again by 4.2.
But that's where you want
Yeah, I get 6, I think, gives you the approval, the limited conditional use.
Yeah, it states right in there, conditions of approval. Conditional use permit is all the conditions permit granted to the applicants.
I messed that up, sorry.
Well,
We're all clear on that?
no, nobody's clear on anything because
Doesn't seem
I just found the resolution from 2020 and it was a limited conditional use for the indoor entertainment land use with the drive-through.
Nothing carries forward.
Regular does. That was.
no, she said limited.
She said.
Oh, I didn't hear you. I didn't talk a little loud. So it wasn't.
Mark, I have a question for you. You, Mark. There's this note in the note that says that one of the other considerations is the rebuild of the intersection.
The DOT is looking at rebuilding Highway 11 in 4 to 5 years. That will have some minor impacts on the landscaping area in front
It
of the
says
property.
2027 and 2028.
Okay. That's their goal.
That's 2 years. At the earliest, right? But it also showed a change of right of way that disturbs dramatically the drive-through point of exit.
If they try to save the tree, correct. The DOT is going around the backside of a very large tree for some reason.
Well,
Again, it's a preliminary plan at this point, but there is some changes that would affect the front.
So
landscape area.
how come there wasn't, an addition to the recommendation that the applicant had to agree to the right of way changes required at that point?
I do not believe the DOT would look favorably upon us doing that.
That we would give them flexibility?
I brought it up because it is something the city will have to purchase in the future to buy that right of way. And again, it will reduce some of the 5-foot landscaping in front of the property.
Okay, thank you.
I apologize. Trevor Wheeler was given a limited conditional use, but then Lisa Line was given a regular conditional use. So,
What year was that?
Trevor Wheeler was in 2017, and then when he passed away, Lisa got it, in 2019.
In the 2019 version, down at the very bottom, right above the signatures, are the conditions of approval. Number 1 says the conditional use permit is limited conditional use
Oh,
permit
it
granted
does.
to the applicant.
But up above it says it's a regular conditional use.
So that's right, that's right.
As a
Yeah.
condition, is- so it's limited.
Yeah.
Yes, the conditions of approval were defined.
No, I don't know, it's not. If it's regular for Lisa Line, it's regular. now.
No, but the
It says
condition of
regular at the
approval.
top, but then
Well,
the
the approval is
condition
for
of
the
approval of, yeah, Mel signed it.
Okay, I'm with you.
Yeah. We're slowly getting something. Fine.
Part of this is sorting out what happened in the past.
All right, any other questions for staff or the petitioner? And if not, any other citizens in attendance wish to speak either in favor or against this at this time? Hearing none, then I will close the public hearing and move on to item 4.2, which is consider a conditional use petition to allow for proposed commercial indoor entertainment land use at 1265 Racine Street in the business local BL zoning district, which will also have a drive-through window and is located in a wellhead protection overlay zoning applicant Mark Schmidt. Here to make a recommendation.
Mr. Mayor, I would move to recommend the common council approval of the limited conditional use findings listed in the report under regular conditional use finding, and that includes the additional requirements of the parking. Parking. It's just the parking.
All right, there's a motion, is there a second?
Make that, I'll second that.
I think there's a motion and a second, any further discussion? Kevin?
I'd move to add, um, approval contingent upon a couple, 2 other elements. One, is acknowledgement of it being maintaining as a non-smoking, facility. And secondly, no, gambling machines paying to customers.
There's an amendment to the motion, and is there a second to the amended motion?
My only question is, when you're talking about the no payment of money to customers, is that type of activity happening in all our other parks?
So that kind of law breaking is happening in other places, yes.
Okay.
Are we attempting here though to limit your amendment would attempt to limit what the operator might want to do in the future, something that he could do if he applied for the appropriate permit.
There is a permit to provide for,
First of all, we should probably have a second and then further discussion.
Yeah, I can't support that motion.
So. Anyone care to second it? I'm gonna second for further discussion, just for the purpose of the
all right,
further discussion, since we've started some further discussion. Who, Bruce, do you want to continue or were you kind of done with?
Well, I, you know, even whether illegal or not illegal, I don't think it's planning commission's position to tell this guy he can't do something everybody else is doing. That's the position of our enforcement, not the planning commission. And, if he's gonna put in machines in there that pay back to the customers, and I know that all our other bars and some convenience stores are doing it as well. That should be something that should be enforced by law enforcement, not the planning commission. And so I stand with my original approval. And if he wishes to have a smoking bar or gambling machines in there, he needs to get the necessary reports and he shouldn't be breaking the law. That's the best I can tell you.
Well, did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Basically, that's what I said.
Okay.
If he wants to apply for permits in the future, we should not be not allowing him to do that with what we're recommending here to the council.
so thank you very much. I would point out two things. One, I'm not aware of a permit provided to break the law,
There is,
right? So we're not preventing him from applying for a future permit. My point in this case is that he's announced his intention to break the law in his public communications.
Stretch.
No, it's not a stretch.
Yeah.
Read his website.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, you're correct there.
Did you?
Just a question. For these gaming machines, what are the rules? Are those derived from the state?
State statute says that the gambling machines are for entertainment use only and can't pay out. And our city ordinance says that gambling makes something a public nuisance. So, yes. Both.
All right, so not only do we have a city ordinance in place, but we also have the state, which is telling everyone what can be done. So the next question is, if the applicant decides to put in these gaming machines and they do in fact pay out, who oversees that?
The Department of Revenue can send people out to enforce it. A police department representative could enforce it. I think the likelihood is slim.
That the Department of Revenue will send somebody out to enforce it?
Correct,
Is that because they have not enforced it in other communities as well?
correct.
So then it would fall on the city to enforce it on behalf of the state.
Correct, but I don't believe that the Lower County District Attorney's Office says I'm not touching it.
Well, that further adds to the complication, doesn't it? Thank you.
So, Matt, my point is the only point of control left to us if we don't want gaming devices paying out to people is to require as a conditional use element that they can. If they do, then their conditional use can be rescinded.
Well, it fits very well with the founding temperance ideals too, doesn't it?
No, people can drink wherever they want. So,
Any other discussion?
If we were to do
we have
the,
to vote on the amendment.
Yeah, we have to go on.
if we were to do the enforcement for the amendment piece, that would be a cost.
The code enforcement activity.
That would not be. that in the form of a fine? Do we have that in place? Do you know what that is?
If someone violates a condition of the conditional use. The ordinance says they can be fined and the conditional use can be rescinded.
Thank you.
But I'm not a lawyer.
Any other discussion on the proposed amendment? Well,
Andy, could you read that back for me, please? The amendment,
The amendment was, motion to maintain as a non-smoking facility and no gambling machines that pay to customers allowed.
so we've got a motion and a second, all those in favor of the amendment, signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
That's you.
Well, I said, I was with.
I was with three of us.
It was 3-3. I thought we got.
Don't you split the time?
Well, I already voted anyway, so I'm gonna split it. Should I get a second vote?
No.
So the amendment died.
Yeah. For lack of. All right, everyone. And we're back to the original motion. Everyone clear on the original motion?
That's for approval.
That's for approval. All those
With the recommendations from
parking and stuff.
parking and such, yes.
All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Moving on to item number 5, which is public hearing, review and possible recommendation. Christie Obernoff. 5.1 is a public hearing on the conditional use petition to amend an existing group development at 1421 Racine Street to allow for a proposed indoor sales and services land use in the manufacturing light ML zoning district with a wellhead protection overlay zoning applicant Christie Obernoff. With that, we'll open the public hearing and start with staff.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yeah, this is at 1421 Racine Street, and for indoor sales or service in the ML Manufacturing Light Zoning District, we do require conditional use. And Christie Ovenoff is in the audience if you have specific questions for her.
Any questions for staff? Why is Christie? Oh, yeah, would you like to come and add anything additional, or I don't know if there's any questions for Christie and the petitioner?
It's a research shop, right?
And there may not be any questions, it doesn't look like, you're certainly welcome to add anything that's not in our packet already, if you wish. Okay, won't put you on the spot. There's no, are there any questions for?
It's a resale shop, correct?
Yeah, it would be resale. Mainly focusing on furniture. Just kind of think that people should have some affordable furniture options and already ready to go.
And you did read the fact here that you're not allowed any outdoor.
Correct, yes, and I wouldn't do that.
What made you choose that spot? And I'm just curious, because you're right in the middle of, you know, insurance agencies, hairdressers, finance people, and there is a resale down the street, but
Yeah, I know.
we won't go into that.
Actually, I chose it because finding some retail space was incredibly difficult. There really isn't anything out there. So,
It's very good, answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Christie. Any other questions? If not, anyone else in attendance wish to speak either in favor or against? Not, we'll close the public hearing and move on to item 5.2, which is consider amending an existing group development conditional use permit at 1421 Racine Street, allowing for a multi-tenant buildings to add a proposed indoor sales or service land use for a retail sales business within the manufacturing light ML zoning district will be wellhead protection overlay by applicant again Christine Over. Anyone care to make a motion?
So moved as presented.
Second,
There's a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Seeing and hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passes. Item 6, under business 6.1 is consider a 2-lot land division request by certified survey map CSM for 205 through 433 South Wright Street.
Start off, Mark.
Okay, my name is Warren Hanson with Ferris Hanson and Associates. I'm here representing these 2 lot owners with 2 LLCs. They want to get this CSM put in place to allow an extra lot in there. And I can't report on exactly what's going on with it yet, you know, what may be using that lot 2 that's on your drawing. I don't have information to that effect. But that cross easement that went through the middle of what was now proposed lot 2, because the original lot 2 is being subdivided into 2 lots. So all the documents are here, what's going to be done. It wouldn't be signed until the release would be done together. So we're asking for approval of the CSM now that there's more clarity as what's going on with that easement. I'm not sure why it doesn't make any sense why it was even there to begin with, but anyway, that's the proposal.
Kevin?
I'm not sure you can answer them.
Is that-
So I'm not sure you can answer the questions that we raised, but, at our last meeting, we asked why there wasn't a request to also subdivide lot 3 at the same time. And as you look at lot 3, it's got a number of easement requirements, from Walgreens. There's no reference in any of our documents today about what the plan is. You can't answer that,
I
right?
can't answer that, but
In fact,
they always could do that because it's right next to
in
it.
fact, in these documents, it appears that the easements approved for Walgreens are broader than the ones that were outlined in our last document. Right? There's more parking there. And part of the condition of the city to approve that plan was because we wanted 2 lots delivered in the front of that place, and the owner hasn't responded at all on why lot 3 isn't being included. The second question I have is that it was very clear to the owner that we wanted evidence that the easements that are by law, lot 1's right, were eliminated. They have, before we approved lot 2's subdivision, is simply a document from an attorney of a proposed agreement. And a broad assurance by the attorney that somebody's agreed to sign it. They've had 30 days to get it signed. It isn't signed in front of it.
Well, a lot of times when we're doing subdivisions or CSMs, easements are left blank so they can be recorded prior to the other signatures. They come together.
There's only 2 parties,
Yeah, that's true.
and it's in the first party's interest. The second party was the one who has the right, and the first party is the one who's given us the assurance that the second party's given up their right. Without a signature, I don't know how we can believe, particularly given the history here, that that easement actually takes place. And I'm not comfortable in this is, I'm sorry, I'm speaking to the question instead of asking.
Well, on page 2 of 3. We have a city of Delavan approval that has to be signed before this is recorded.
Yeah, I know. Why would we approve it? Why would we give the guy, so the person who has the easement should give up their right first.
And they will before you sign it.
You don't have a lot of history here in front of the body on this matter,
Oh,
okay? This is multi-year matter. And we have repeatedly had issues with the follow through and veracity of statements made by the owner.
I see.
So,
But as I understand it, it's true though that this CSM cannot be recorded and it cannot go on record until this easement termination is also on record.
yeah, you're right, it can.
Okay,
I think what Kevin's looking for is an assurance from an
No.
attorney from the owner of lot 1 that they're giving up their right. That's what he's looking for, so that we, as the city, can move forward. Is that correct?
So,
there,
yeah, J. Matthew Paranello Esquire from Rochester notes to us, they have agreed to sign.
Mr. Mayor, in the agenda report, one of the staff's recommendation was that if you wanted to move this forward, that one of the conditions be that that easement, along with the letter of credit, be provided prior to the city signing.
Thank you for that. Those were my questions, right?
Thank you. Thank you. Any other questions? Petition? If not,
Wait, I may have,
yeah.
my concern is a little bit about, you talked about easements, but then.
We might have a
And
question.
you're releasing all the easements as they are currently in this letter.
No, the utility easement is.
they're just released. I'm sorry. They are releasing the easement that crosses the new lot 2. Only that part. Where it says cross easement, utility service vacated per document blank. Well, when that document gets recorded, that number will go in there before you sign it. Okay.
Just so we're clear, the easement exists. They could put the document number in today.
Yes,
They could have signed it today. And they would have given up the easement.
well, for some reason, they weren't here to sign it.
Right.
Yeah.
They haven't been here for a month to sign it.
Yes.
Any questions? Is anyone care to make a motion? Yes. Oh, sorry, Ken.
I'd move to recommend common council denial of the proposed 2-lot CSM land division for the property at 205 through 433 South Wright Street as prepared. Christopher A. Hodge, last revised 2/10/2025.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I second the
And the basis for my motion is that we were very clear about what we wanted before we were gonna approve it. Right? And the action of eliminating the easement has not been provided. I'm not comfortable providing contingent, from my perspective, contingent approval of the CSM, assuming that in the future, this could be done, because we could make that contingency, then all of a sudden, we put the landlord in this case, or the potential subdivider in a position of improved negotiation against another person, right? They should eliminate the easement to begin with, and then come before us. I mean, that their representative just said to us, he did not understand why that easement was necessary for lot one to begin with, right? So that's my perspective.
Any other discussion? We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye. Opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Motion. Item 6.2 is consider exterior sign installation in the downtown historical overlay district for 239 East Walden Avenue with the downtown design overlay zone district. Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. We're here to request signage for Jaime's Cafe. So I'm here representing the renter of the business, Jaime Alfonso. You guys should have in front of you the picture of the sign that we are proposing to install. It would be 152 inches long, 20 inches tall across the front of the building. And according to some of the codes, it looks like because it would be covering some of the brickwork, it wouldn't currently pass as is. So we're here to request approval for the signage for their business.
Any questions? Sharing some information with us?
Yes.
For us?
Mr. Mayor.
Questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Oh, yes.
I would just like to say from staff's standpoint, this building, I don't believe has ever had any signage on it other than in the window. So there's really, part of the reason that they were having issues with this is it's really hard to, they didn't design this building for signage.
I also have historical photos of the building too, where it shows that the brickwork, the arches almost have never been shown historically. So truthfully, the sign that we have would be showing more of the brickwork. We like the historical downtown, so we want to keep as much of that as possible.
Anyone care to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to move as written.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
There's a motion and second. Any further discussion? Seeing, hearing none, all those in favor of the motion signify by stating aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. It passes.
Thank you.
I think it's good.
Item number 7, building zoning inspectors report. You?
Yeah, really the only thing that I wanted to update you on was on for Geronimo's apartment building that's going up on Phoenix Street, that they're most likely going to be getting occupancy at the end of this month, as long as they stay on the path that they're on.
Do they have those units pretty much filled, or, you know?
I know that, I do not know if it's filled or not. I believe that they haven't really told me that, but I know that they weren't really taking calls until relatively recently, but I know they've had a lot of interest, so.
Any questions for you?
Okay, so what happens now, related to Schmucks? Since it doesn't have a conditional use and it's operating? That's my question.
Right, Yeah, so technically they shouldn't be operating until the common council
Is technically the right word or
Yeah,
legally?
legally. They should not be.
I wasn't clear on that. I thought you, so they could operate as a bar standalone, could they not? Since there was a regular conditional use?
No, it was a limited conditional use.
I thought at least in mine, you had a regular conditional use.
It said regular at the top and limited at the bottom, so no.
Okay. Gotcha.
Any other questions for T?
Well. I think that might be a two-part question. I don't know if you've ever addressed these gaming machines, is that what they're called? And if I understand, the city has no ordinance that addresses gaming within the city with a payout. And I'm not sure what the state says. The state saying that as long as the Department of Revenue is allowed to come in and check things, that it's okay with them. I'm confused on.
Bars are allowed to have 5 of the machines, but they're not supposed to pay out. It's supposed to be for entertainment.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I missed the first part of it.
It's supposed to be for entertainment.
Is that
They're
what
not-
the state says?
Correct.
Okay, so then the second part of, that I'm adding is what are we doing about the machines that are currently operating in the city in violation of state law?
Well, I think now we're getting into some discussions
Yeah,
that about issues that aren't on the agenda,
I
but
understand that,
I get it, we're all
but
looking for some
that's
clarity.
what Kevin is saying too. And I assume he's saying, let's get it on the agenda.
Well, let me interject and help you out here. First of all, we are not the enforcement body of the city. So bringing up the objection should maybe come up in the notes, and it should go to the people that do the regulations and enforcements of the city. The planning commission in itself is stepping over the boundary by becoming an enforcement body, which we are not. So the answer to your question is, by bringing it up in the minutes, it should end up in the right spot to address that agenda item.
I'll take that on good faith.
Well, I bring it up, I'm hoping that it goes to the right spot.
I agree with Bruce in that, in existing situations, the plan commission has no stand. My perspective is, given no one wants to enforce it, the plan commission does have a right to identify the conditions of operation and approval. And so those conditions act, and they act in the form of a contract between the city and the operator, which is why my perspective was an alternate approach would be to suggest a conditional use provision that says if you operate in this fashion, you lose your conditional use. It's not inconsistent with any ordinance or, in fact, is consistent with the state statute, but the body chose not to add, so that's where we are.
All right, any other questions on T's inspection report? There's no further business. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and second, all in favor of adjournment? Signify by stating that.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thanks, everyone.
That certainly was interesting.
We always say